do you write this? Is it one of those things where you just get all of the material together and then you write it, or do you write as you go along, or how does that work?
You write as you go along, because we work so closely with the scientists in the field. So we work on what we think the best story that we could possibly tell with the number of days in the field that we have. So we write an outline, we write story beats, we write a guide, and then we go into the field and that either happens or it doesn't, and then we come back and we pivot and we change, and then we refine and we refine and refine, and then you have a talent like Angela Bassett and then you write for her voice. So it's a process, but a really fun one.
How could you have had anybody but Angela
Bassett?
Oh,
I know. Tell us about it. I know. Yeah. She's everything. Authentic, experienced. She's the queen.
She is. When you set out to produce the whole thing, did you say we want X number of episodes, or did it just evolve as time happened?
We started with 6 episodes because we wanted to go to different queendoms and give a good variety of these amazing queens' experiences in the worlds they live in. And then as we were making the show, and we realised that the story of what we were doing behind the scenes, which was first female-led production, first black wildlife director-producer, first black natural history longlands camera woman, there were all these amazing stories that were happening in the process that we then got National Geographic were fantastic and supported us with the 7th episode. So it kind of organically came out of it.
I told the others I really loved that last episode because it shows the hard work that went into making something like this. You know, so often when we watch these kinds of films, we don't understand the effort that goes into all of it. And that really helps you understand the process. What surprised you about doing all of this? What was the revelation to both of you when you...
I think how varied and nuanced the stories would be, that we could make a series of 7 different episodes and each of them would feel wildly different, but build to a thesis. That there would be so much drama and so much heart to these stories, because actually when we were purposely moving away from the big set pieces, the big fights and the hunts, and we were looking at more subtle behaviour, because often the female-led behaviour is more subtle. And we didn't really know how that would transpire. We didn't expect it to be as dramatic as it turned out to be. So I think that for me as a storyteller has been a wonderful surprise.
I've worked in natural history filmmaking for 30 years. And normally what you do is you go back to previous series and you look at every time that this behaviour has been shot before, and you think about how you can tell it slightly differently and improve it and make it more immersive. We didn't have that template. These stories had not been covered before. And we didn't know. We were sort of revealing new science with the scientists as we went. So there was a bit of a seat of the pants moment where you're like, will there be enough drama? Because we would be briefing our teams to say, you know, sometimes it might just be an eyebrow raise of a lion that you need to capture, but we didn't know where that would go. So I think the level of drama that was new and different really surprised us.
Are there a lot of queens that are on the cutting room floor? Are there things that you go, we could do another series?
Well, for sure. Yeah. But there's actually one particular, the second episode, which is our rainforest episode, is about bonobos, which I think everyone knows. Chimps maybe don't know bonobos, one of our other closest living relatives. Fascinating society, wonderful animals, but incredibly difficult to film. No one has ever made a full feature-length documentary about them. No. And we didn't know whether we could. We wanted to try because their society is so fascinating. But because of that, we also filmed forest elephants. We thought it might be a two-hander. And then we got into the edit, and the bonobos are so great. Those poor forest elephants.
They hit the
floor. They hit the floor.
But the thing I found about that episode was, how does the person pull away from they're going out, I'm letting this child go of mine that I have to be the surrogate mother for? What is that like?
Yeah. Isn't it interesting that you're having that reaction? Because that's exactly what we wanted it. We wanted it to feel so relatable. We wanted these stories to be so relatable. You know, we spend a long time in the field. The cinematographers spend a long time in the field. They build these relationships with these animals, and then they have to say goodbye to them. I mean, that's the privilege and the heartbreak of it.
So what was saying goodbye for you guys when you said, all right, we're done with this project?
I don't think I have yet.
Oh, we haven't. It hasn't ended, actually. We've all stayed. And for me, you asked what was surprising, because I'd worked in a very male-dominated environment before. So to actually work with a female-dominated team, it was totally different experience. It was collaborative, warm, communal, a bit messy sometimes. You know, someone was having a baby. We had lots of women who normally would have stopped working because they'd had children carrying on, and we all kind of lent in, and Chloe magnificently led the team as a young mother and sort of led the way and showed the way. So I think we've carried on this,
the legacy
the legacy is carried
of the show
on.
is huge.
And I think we're applying it to other shows, and that's actually attracted more women to our company, which is Wildstar Films.
So what is the lesson we learn from this for human society?
That leadership takes many forms, and that to be a strong leader doesn't necessarily mean being dominant or violent or all-powerful, although there are plenty of female leaders that are like that in the natural world, so it's not saying that. But strength, resilience, friendship, these things count, and that we can look to the natural world for inspiration on that.
Well, you should be very proud of what you've done. It's quite amazing, and the stories you're able to tell are just fantastic.
Oh,
so
thank you so much. That means a lot to us.
Thank you. Thank you.